Welcome back to the good old Rocky Pod as we go into week 4 of October, after the third Saturday in October, after the second straight win against the Alabama Crimson Tide in Knoxville. And this is the one and only place that you have to be right now. And put that in your pipe and smoke it, Alabama announcer, for us piping in crowd noise. Go ahead, cue up the crowd noise. All right. I don't know. This was a good win. So let's go around. Let's go around the table and see like how are we feeling. I know Chris and Caleb, you guys were at the game, so let's hear from you guys first before we get into the game. Before we get into the stats and the demographics and all that kind of stuff, let's hear about the fan experience on campus.
Well, personally, I mean, I think the fans single-handedly won the game for us. I do say so.
Chris?
They were spectacular. In our section, they were uniquely compliant. Caleb was like an attack dog. And it's very good to see him get that red and stomping and hollering. And people were responding very obediently to him. Like when there was a moment as Alabama was coming onto offense on the field, just bellowing, "Let's go!" And then, "Get up!" And they complied. It was beautiful. Everybody was in. Even when things were bad, I think me and Caleb were the two people in the worst spirits. Maybe the guy sitting to my left, but everybody else seemed to be pretty jovial. It was nice, and yeah, they pumped some volume.
I got a question on that. Like, I have heard just reports and stuff about. Was there y'all going into the stadium and stuff? I heard that there wasn't pretty much any Alabama fans there. It was pretty much all Vols. Can you confirm or deny those claims?
There were more Alabama fans than there last week, but it's probably the fewest Alabama fans I've seen in Neyland ever.
Yeah, them some bitches sure did love coming up here, packing 50,000 in when they knew they were going to come up here and club a hapless baby, some teeth. Those candy asses. I think I'll stay back in
the funny thing to me was the funny thing to me was even the ones who came, there were so many Bama fans wearing like black. Or like I saw several with like baby blue, and it's like they were anticipating losing and not being identified.
Okay. Learned a valuable lesson last time round, I imagine.
Hey, Danny's a genius. He's pricing out opposing fans now too.
All right, we're going.
I'm curious. Is the Ticketmaster debacle working? Is this a silver lining to it?
I don't see how that keeps out Alabama.
I mean, did they not threaten season ticket holders with if you're selling too much, you're going to lose them?
Yeah, but I feel like this is the one. If you're going to make some money, this is the one you're going to sell.
Yeah.
Well, possibly so.
Well, I know we want to talk about like the crowd noise and real versus artificial later, but I really want to hear from Matt since I didn't go to the game, you didn't go to the game. Like, what was your game day experience like watching the Vols take down Bama?
Well, let's start with the crowd noise. That was probably the loudest I've ever heard it on TV. Yeah. Like, that was insane. I think I put it in the group chat. Like,
yeah,
that was really cool. I know I joke about our fans, and they were my pick to click last week, and I think they definitely clicked. So, thank you, fans. But are we talking about the game now, or just
just your overall experience of like watching the?
I mean, I watched it with my sister and her family, and 2 years ago. So I have 3 nieces and nephews from my brother-in-law that came into our family, and when we beat Alabama 2 years ago, like they were looking at me like I was crazy because I was crying. I was like, y'all don't understand. We've not beat this team in any of your lifetimes. Like, so they asked me, "Are you gonna cry?" I said, "I might." But man, I just no,
Okay.
I can't cry over them. No more. But I mean, shout out to the fans. That was great. Other than storming the field, can we not do that? Like, come on.
Oh, come
Yeah,
on.
we'll get in that argument in a minute.
Okay.
But I think for me, watching the game, I was in my apartment watching on TV, and I was in the group chat with you guys. But I also have some friends that in New York here that aren't college football fans. They're like NBA fans, they're NFL fans, and they're just now like watching Tennessee football just because of me, and just to like have something to talk about with me at like church and at the coffee shop and stuff like that. And they're actually really getting into it now, and they're like, man, like this crowd noise is insane. And like one of my friends from church, he's like a Filipino dude, he's married to a girl that's from Barbados, and they're just like all in on the Vols right now. Like my buddy Jacob was like, yo, Latoya's sitting here and like she's super invested in it, and like this is the craziest thing we've ever seen. And they were just like just going nuts over just like the atmosphere that they're watching just on the TV. So I thought that was pretty cool. And to just piggyback off what Matt was saying, like I personally thought it was like super loud. Like I've watched a lot of games, on TV and stuff with crowd noise and stuff like that, but it did seem like from start to finish, it was just like consistently loud on TV. So, yeah.
There was a funny thing though when it wasn't loud and we were recovering for the next play on the jumbotron. It was still reading the decibel meter as 118. It was fluctuating at 120. So we how loud it was, but it was loud, and we were adding.
I mean, we had that thing at the beginning of the game where Alabama committed a penalty, and I think the ref just forgot to like turn his mic on or didn't do it right, but Sean McDonough was like, "Oh, you can't even, hear the ref for this crowd," but it was so loud. Like it was really cool.
Yeah, I think like late in the fourth, maybe it was the 4th and 22 or the play before that, might have been the loudest I ever have heard it in there. Like it felt like literally everyone was screaming.
It's awesome.
Great. That's awesome.
I finally did after the fact when I started watching the replays of the game. I didn't hear Spooky Rocky Top at all, just like you said last week. It was there were so many things. Apparently, they played it. It was loud over the cast, but I never once heard that. I could barely hear the head ref. What an idiot he was! But God, yeah, no, it was extra. It was a top. I mean, it's hard to compare. It was elite.
Gotcha. All right, so I guess we can kind of go into the game of it all. Starting off the game, like you said, we were on defense. We had an amazing crowd noise, and like let's get into the bulk of the game. Like, what did you guys think about the actual like game itself? Let's just start with the first half. Let's start with the first drive on offense, where here we go again.
Yeah, I mean,
we have an amazing drive, and we're gonna go down. We're gonna score, and then our now Heisman hopeful Dylan Sampson is just making the drive. He's running the ball. Who's never fumbled apparently in like 286 snaps or something like that, and then he fumbles. So, what do you guys think?
It's a lot for me because I didn't see him fumble, and I don't think they show replays in Neyland Stadium anymore. So I was just like, I wonder how that happened. I can't believe
he just ripped it.
Yeah,
I don't blame him.
Yeah, it was like a perfect storm scenario for that ball because he got hit and then he did like a little half spin, and when he half spin, the guy's hand just perfectly on the ball and just ripped it. So, yeah.
as miserable as it was the first half, I mean, it was impossible not to be encouraged by the defense.
Yeah.
Because Alabama, Jalen Milroe, everyone there, yeah, they're not doing great right now, but they're way more talented, way more effective than 7 points. So any questions that I may have had lingering in the back of my mind about the defense are solved, answered now, gone. No, not really a
They're
question.
so good.
But I was, yeah. But I was very encouraged that despite Nico throwing 5 yards past, receivers dropping, not helping at all, I was very, very encouraged that Josh kept dialing up the deep ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kept dialing up, going downfield so we could force them to allocate towards the back of the defense and give Dylan some room to run. Like the confidence that he showed in his scheme and knowing that Alabama is not great back there.
I mean, this was, I know I made fun of it last couple of weeks, but everybody's saying, oh, it's so close. It's there. It's there. Look, there's this wide open guy, and Nico's like back. And it's like, okay, yeah. But this was that game. I was like, oh my God. Like it is, like it has to click at some point. Like we have to complete one of these. It's coming. Just be patient. And thank God it did.
What do you think, Caleb?
I mean, first half, clearly had the here we go again feeling. I just, I don't know. I was pretty surprised we held them to 7. Shout out Jermod McCoy. That play was incredible. That was the first half, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I was even thinking is like, and Chris brought up a good point where Josh just kept on dialing up the long passes. Is, we, like Matt, you even said it, where we feel like we're so close. Everybody's like, man, we're so close, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't really, really look like we're that close. But I really did feel like this was the first half, or the first time I saw us, when I'm like, you know what? I can see that we're actually pretty close. That, Nico had like 2 or 3 balls that were overthrown really, really bad. But he also had 2 or 3 balls that were thrown right on the money that were just drops. Like that first one, I think, in maybe the first drive or the second drive, where he has a pretty wide open slant to Squirrel White, and for whatever reason, Squirrel lifts up his one arm and it just bounces off his elbow or something. Like if he puts up 2 hands, he catches that and goes. So I mean, and then there's a couple other plays where I'm like, you know what? Like after looking at this, and then I watched the game again, and I was like, if we complete 2 of those passes that were incomplete, this is a blowout.
Yeah.
So
It's been a blowout.
yeah.
But Squirrel's an issue.
Yeah.
Love Squirrel, love his talent, love what he's done, love what I know he can do. But he's got an AC joint separation, and it hurts to pick up a bottle of water.
Yeah.
When you do.
Yeah,
that.
I'm not blaming him for doing it, but I was just like, he was
His
limited,
hand,
and like,
needs someone to emerge as the deep threat.
Yeah.
And I think it's Thornton.
Yeah.
More consistently.
Before we get to that, how concerned were you guys when Nico went down hurt?
Well, the time he played so badly, I was like, all right, let's go, Gaston. It can't be.
Me too. I was like, hey, maybe he'll be a shot in the arm. And well, he took a shot, all right.
I
Forgot
I had the same thought.
Good.
Nico went down, and my first thought was like, well, Gaston Moore might just be. He's probably not going to have a high ceiling like Nico, but maybe he'll run the offense more efficient and effectively. And then 5 seconds later, I'm like, we need Nico.
Well, as someone said, that he thought he was Johnny Moxon out there.
Come on.
Yeah. Of course, I loved, he looked so clean avoiding the rush.
Yeah.
He didn't look as panicked as Nico. He avoided the rush. He rolled out. There just happened to be 2 defenders and no Tennessee players there.
I mean, that was the easiest play that safety's made in his life to pick that. Like, he just took a walk in the park over to that one. That was oof. I was like, man, this is it. Like, we're gonna struggle the rest of the way. Nico's done, but in the end, I think that was. I don't want to say that's what Nico needed, but I think that was a wake-up call. I think that. I mean, I keep kind of comparing Nico's season so far to a baseball player. He's just in such a bad rut.
Yeah.
Where, like, he's overthrowing these deep balls. He's, throwing high on some of these slants and stuff. Like, and I think that was the wake-up call he needed.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that, like, my thoughts after the injury and then looking back how he played was maybe he was playing for the whole season so scared to take that big hit and play and not to get hurt and play and not to get injured. When he finally took someone's best shot that actually knocked him out of the game, he went over to the doctor and they're like, "Hey, yeah, you're not, your career's not over. Like, go back out there." Like, he took someone's best shot and that kind of knocked the rust off, and he's like, "Okay, cool. Like, I can take someone's best shot and then still play." That's kind of how I viewed it, because he just felt he just carried himself differently after he came back from the injury to me.
I don't know. I think after that interception, Heupel pulled a Bud Kilmer and made the trainers get him back out there. Thank you, Chris, for getting that. Yeah. Caleb, you ever seen Varsity Blues?
Nope.
What about you, Kyle?
I have seen it, yeah.
Caleb, you still got to watch Major League too, by the way.
Oh gosh!
Right. Send me the DVD.
Yeah.
Well, we got it
You'll
on
watch
Blu-ray.
Blu-ray.
Okay, sorry for that.
No, you're good.
No, it's good.
Let's go.
So, what did you any thoughts on the first half before we move on to the second half?
Why can't we score? We have that one drive. It's like, okay, and then a turnover, and then just nothing. I mean, what do we got to do?
Well, I mean, we did try 2 field goal attempts in the first half. So
Yeah.
Poor Max.
I loved that Sean McDonough at the end of the game when he nailed the 40-yard was like, good for him.
Side note, but Sean McDonough is so good. He's my favorite play
he's
caller. Not play
Yeah.
caller.
Oh
Play
man,
by play.
it's so funny to me y'all actually care about that stuff.
No, he's the voice of the '98 season as
Yes.
much as John Ward is to me.
I get it.
He was
but-
his main guy, and to have him there, it's very nostalgic. But just objectively, he's excellent at it.
Well, for me, I don't think guys are just good at it. Like, if I notice them, I hate them. But if I don't think, oh wow, they're great. I'm just if I'm thinking about them, it's in a bad way. I'm never thinking about a TV guy as great.
That is very interesting to me.
Yeah.
I'm
But
with Chris.
I would,
It's
I
more
would
the
like-
nostalgia thing with him.
Yeah, I guess so. I would like to shout out McCoy's interception in end zone. The one-handed pick
Could spend a whole segment
was
on it.
amazing. And
Yeah.
thank God for the transfer portal, and thank you for him coming to us.
Yes, thank you, Oregon State.
Oregon.
Is he the best? Who's he the best corner since? Because he's moved up my list.
Yeah.
Like,
Are we past Cam Sutton?
oh yeah, we're way past
Oh, yeah.
Cam Sutton. Like,
We're getting into Dwayne Rich,
we're getting
Deion Grant.
Steve
My God.
Johnson.
Ooh.
I mean, my memories of '98 are.
I'm sure some of those early 2000s corners were great. We just can't remember them right now, but he's
Demetrius
phenomenal.
Ford.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, too soon. Come on, man.
Well, I'm just thinking the people I've heard of is he's obviously better than Alontae Taylor.
Man.
That's
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
I was thinking of the other day. It's like, how good was he? But
He's still in the NFL, but
yeah,
Yeah.
he was
Um,
here Saturday too.
yeah. So yeah, I think it's. I don't really know that much before Cam Sutton. Because I don't know how good those guys are compared to you. You got guys in the 70s, 80s, early 90s. You put them in 2024's game. Are they that great?
I'll say
Yeah.
for now, I'm gonna say Jason Allen, little leg up on him, but it's very close. I feel like he's going to be a first or second round pick next year. Like he is.
Yeah,
He's
it's
good.
very
Yeah, and
enticing.
And he's got one more year with us at least. So
Yeah.
Say that feels really good.
yeah, he can come in like next year, and everybody's like thinking, "Oh, he's preseason the best cornerback in the SEC or something like that."
That's the way talking about this has made me think of another observation I had. It's been like this a decent amount this season, certainly more than other seasons under Heupel. Our corners are playing up and
Ricky,
tight,
Yeah, and
And
turning
they
around.
and they look. I think I think Martinez thinks they have the skills to like not just run straight into the receiver and hopefully their body blocks the ball.
Yeah. I mean,
Or we get an
Ricky Gibson played really well too.
I think
Yes, he
all
did.
those. I know Gibson's not a transfer, but all the transfer secondary guys like Jacoby Thomas, like
Yeah.
remember the Rod Wilkes? Wait till you meet Rod Wilkes over the middle meme. No, wait till you meet Jacoby Thomas. That dude is a monster. Oh my gosh.
He's very mean.
I
We
mean,
like
Yeah,
God,
I'm glad you brought up Gibson because McCoy's getting all the shine, but Gibson is like right there behind him.
Well,
all
the
those guys. They're
the
great.
scariest injury was when McCoy went down for a while.
Yeah.
Did he even finish the game? And then
Yeah,
but
he came back like in the next series.
I mean, Ricky
I
Gibson.
mean, I don't know. 'Cause they're like they both got hit in the back, right? Gibson got kicked in the back.
Yeah.
I still don't know what happened to Nico.
No, so McCoy got kneed in the back.
Nico
McCoy got kneed.
kind of got rolled up, but I think the defender's helmet like landed in his back because when he came up, he like reached for his back. So
Yeah.
I think it was a back issue. At first, the way it looked, I thought for sure it was like a knee, an ankle, or something, but luckily it wasn't.
Oh,
You're talking about Nico?
I was
Yeah, Nico's.
The sideline reporter on TV said that the training staff was looking at his hip.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
a
but he
hip
kind of
thing.
reached back in that area. So
Yeah.
at that point in the game, things were so dire. I was imagining torn, ruptured spleen, destroyed kidney, something like that.
Yeah.
I was imagining, but then we had a guy had a kidney transplant, and he went out and hit home runs.
They did a really good close up on Nico's family as soon as he went down. That was pretty.
I love
Sad.
his dad. I
Yeah,
love
his
him.
dad was very like his whole.
He's sitting there
family
looking at
was
the
like,
replay on his phone and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
man, I love him. He's awesome.
They're fantastic.
All right, guys, let's fast forward a little bit to the second half. So now we're into the second half. We're into the good part, and we start kind of rolling a little bit. So how does it feel about describing the second half?
Well, first of all, before you skip halftime, a shout out to the Pride of the Southland band changing up the circle drill for the first time in a really significant way. And I thought it was pretty good, to be
What'd
honest.
they change about it?
Save for, I mean, there's no more animated star drill, but they got spirals and spokes inside of circles and two flowers, and they've changed up some of the
Double-sided now.
What, did
songs.
somebody's parents complain about that? That they had to change it?
This
Jesus.
is
Is that too hard for them?
All right, we've spent 45 seconds too much on the band.
But also, the Alabama band with their marimbas wouldn't get out of the way, so the first
Jesus
part.
Christ. Are you kidding me?
All right. So
Observation.
also I just want to know from the fans' point of view, is the concession stand lines great where you can go in and out in halftime and still be back at your seat before the second half kick? Or
Not where we. No, not where we sit.
I
You
thought
hear
that
that,
was the whole
Vol
point.
fans?
Is like
Tweet at
everybody
Danny.
has easy access to the concession
What section
stands.
were you boys in? We're going to get Vol Twitter to tweet Danny.
Easy 11.
ZZ.
ZZ
Guy
Legend.
Ziegler.
All right.
Offense giving us ZZs for a whole half.
How long before Bama says, "Yeah, hey, $1 million band, we're not going to pay for you to take this pit on the road"? How long before those funds
I
run
hope-
out? Sorry, Kyle.
Oh, next week.
You band
So-
geeks, Jesus.
I heard
All
that
right.
They do
they're
sound
eating
great.
away at the $1 million band.
Oh man. Talking about piping in music. Yeah. So I don't know. Like,
Pretty
who
funny.
cares about bands? I was actually in band and I was forced to be in it. Band is the worst thing ever. If you are watching this and you're thinking about joining a band, I would highly, highly tell you not to do it because it's so dumb. All right. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to actual things in football.
Yes, the second.
All right, Matt, let's start with you. What do you think about the second half?
Honestly, I felt like, okay, same recipe as Florida. We're gonna come out. We're gonna win this game. Like, I honestly don't think there was a point in that game that I thought we were gonna lose. The way our defense was playing. You okay? What did I say?
Just listen.
Oh. But I'm trying to remember what all. Here we go. In the second quarter. So yeah, we had a punt. And they punt. And we had a touchdown. When was that play? I'm looking for the play. Hang on.
Is it the Thornton play on the sideline?
No. Oh, the second drive of the second half where Sampson just cut off the right corner or the right tackle and just booked it upfield. Man, what a run. That guy is so good.
Yeah.
It was the patented Rajon Neal arc to the
Yeah,
sideline.
with speed.
Except he didn't run out of bounds.
It was gorgeous.
We call that the torn pool run.
And then,
Oh,
so we follow that up
Thank-
with the get stuff for 2 yards, and then the Nico scramble where he just went 25, 27 yards, whatever. That, oh man,
Looked just like Hendon Hooker out there.
yeah.
Way
He runs
stuck
like a
his foot in the
reindeer
ground.
though, man.
it's kind of gangly,
Yeah.
but it was effective.
When he-
I think it's to Alabama how actually fast he was.
When he didn't slide, I was like, oh no, please slide. Like he kind of fell forward and went down, but
the old f***er sitting next to me was like, "He could have made it. Why
then
didn't he try my it?"
the incomplete pass to Brew that should have been a touchdown, just a little too much on that ball. The pass interference on the play after that was a weak call. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, that's a good point that you bring up. Is like the TV guys were talking about how this crew, more than like any other crew in the SEC, has thrown the most flags, and they're just like, yeah, like they were actually pretty like chatty about it on TV. They're like, yeah, just get ready for a bunch of flags because these guys love to throw flags. There were a ton of flags.
Yes.
So
and it was a lot, yeah.
Noticed
But Sampson punched it in. Love Dylan Sampson.
was the way that the line. Oh, also, it bears saying, massive shout out to the
Yes.
line.
yeah,
This-
That was one
Like-
thing, yes. I did notice that there weren't any, just glaring, oh my God, what is
They
that
played
guy
a great
doing?
game.
Yeah. So, sorry,
Yeah.
Chris, go ahead.
But they parted like Alabama's line like the Red Sea, and he scooted in there beautifully. But there was that looking at it at like that drive and the next scoring drive in particular made me realize that Alabama just has a bunch of guys right now. Like it is not Hightower, it is not Clinton Dix. Like what?
It's like 1998, Chris.
yeah. It was,
Well, it ain't 2013 anymore either.
Yeah.
Like that Alabama just looks, yeah, they're not the Alabama of old for sure.
Well,
Nevertheless,
Chris, I would like
they're
to
still
say that we're not going to be every other podcast and talk radio show that just talks about how bad Alabama was. Alabama
Good
was
point.
great,
Yes.
and they're a great football team. And
They are a
Tennessee
great
beat a
football.
great Alabama team. And that's the type of
Absolutely.
reporting you're going to get from the good old Rocky Pod.
I do resent the pure, like every single podcast, every single thing. It was the highlight was Alabama loses again. No credit whatsoever to our defense. No credit whatsoever to the blossoming offense.
Yeah, like the one thing I'll mention, then I'll throw it to Caleb, is like I thought it was really interesting how Dylan Sampson went from like 19 yards to over 100 yards in like 10 seconds, basically. Because now he's getting on that streak of like every game he's won over 100 yards, and he's 3 touchdowns away from a single career or single season records, and he's 7 touchdowns away from a career record. Like, it's great. I'm like noticing it in like halftime. There's like 19 yards, and then by the fourth quarter, he's over 100 yards. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Caleb, what do you think?
So I don't know if this is a hot take, but like I feel like Nico's getting a lot of credit for how well Dylan Sampson played in the second half. Like, I mean, Nico did play better because he didn't turn the ball over, and he made a couple of really nice throws. But like he wasn't asked really to do much in the second half because we were just handing it to Dylan Sampson, and it was working. So, yeah, I mean, that's what we had. That's what we needed to do the whole game, probably. And finally, we just did it in the second half. I was glad to see that. Unlike Matt, I did think we were losing a couple times, and I just am shocked that we came back twice after going down in the second half and just came right back and scored. I honestly could not believe it.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I was thinking too. Is like we came back the first time. I'm like, oh snap! Like my nerves are getting up a little bit, and then we went down again. I'm like, nah. But we came back, and I was like, oh my god! Like my nerves really, really shot up like right towards the end of the game. But yeah, one thing I want to point out too is we talked about how Nico missed some throws coming out of the second half. He threw that bomb to Squirrel White. And again, I know Squirrel White's hurt, but he laid out and it landed on both of his palms. Like he could have caught that so easily if he was anywhere near 100%. So shout out to Nico for literally dropping that one in a bucket, even though Squirrel didn't catch it. Chris, what did you think?
I took a picture of it, and it looks like with 8 minutes and 35 seconds left in the fourth quarter, Alabama's leading 17-14, and it was a TV timeout. And we looked up, and people started commenting on it. There was this cloud formation in the sky that was just that the sun was setting in the background, and it was lighting it up bright orange against the sky, and it was in the shape of a V. Just a nice.
They showed it on the broadcast.
That's what I was told, that it got showed, and I freely admit to being a bit superstitious about football, but something about that made me turn to Caleb and say, "I bet we win."
So we just need chemtrails in the sky from now on for good luck. Is that
we need chemtrails?
Okay.
We need signs and wonders. If they can be produced, so be it. But if they're real, and I think it was, then yes, I will be consciously looking for things like that going forward. Because what was the drive? Like, what was the key play? I don't have the. I've been a couple of days since I watched the video. What was the key drive that got the third? Oh, sorry, it was the Brazel touchdown. That's it.
Well,
Brazel.
Before the Brazel touchdown was the Thornton play on the sideline.
Oh my God,
that's second best throw of the year.
Yeah.
No, that's the best play that Nico has made as a volunteer. That right there.
You think it's better than Oklahoma to Thornton?
Yes, because
Well,
he's
yeah, he was
rolling
on the
out.
run.
Yeah, just perfect throw. Like
Yeah.
looked beautiful. That was the best play he's had as of all.
I'm so, like I said earlier, I'm so glad that Josh did not give up on it. Like, yes, we were running with Sampson. It was working. Alabama was starting to tire, but the way we were still kind of rinky-dinking along, I don't know how many of those drives would have gotten into scoring range without that finally connecting. And you could see that it started to give him confidence.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he completes the Brazel throw without that throw first.
I think I agree with that. And one thing, just to go back on your magical cloud thing, I thought the same thing in 2022 when I think it was somewhere in the fourth quarter, and was it Musburger who was calling that game in 2022?
Brad Ness.
No.
But Nessler, my bad. And he said like, "Oh, even the Tennessee sunset is orange or whatever." And I was like, "You know what? We're gonna win this game."
There was a big orange moon over Omaha, Nebraska. Just gonna leave that one out there.
All right.
On your cloud formation, though, after they showed it, I looked up because we were watching it outside, and I looked up and I could see it. I could see that same formation.
We're all looking at the same clouds, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Is that beautiful?
Amazing. If you guys don't know, for you just joining the pod, the good old Rocky Pod moonlights as storm chasers and weathermen. So we love a good Tennessee football game, and we love a good storm chase. And when I mean we, I'm saying the other guys, not me.
Kyle can't see the clouds for all the smog in New York City. So.
Ha. All right, so let's just go like right towards the end of the game. Like, at what point were you guys like, "Oh my God, we're definitely winning this"? Did you guys have your cigars ready? Like, like, how was the end of the game?
I think the Brazel touchdown was the point. I was like, "Yep, it's over. We're winning."
Not until Will Brooks.
Okay.
No, I was yelling at people for lighting their cigars before, like, after the 4th and 22 stop.
Oh no, they weren't.
Oh yeah, no, Caleb stuck the guy behind cold in his tracks.
So the 4th and 22 was the next to last drive, right?
Yeah, and then they stopped. Yeah, and then people thought it was over, but it was not.
That's a good point. Let's talk about this real quick. What do you guys think about DeBoer going for it on 4th down, like on his like own? What was it, 15 or 20?
It was 100% the right call. I feel like no one is. It was
my favorite thing was the you know how on the TV broadcast it'll put up like, "Oh, 4th and 15. What should you do?" And it said punt. And they're like, "Yep, they're going for it." And it's like, why would you punt in this situation? Like, this is the ball game pretty much. So that was so funny.
But it was not the ball game.
Yeah. Well, that was the ESPN analytics was saying if it was 4th and 7, you go for it. Anything more than 4th and 7, you punt. And it was 4th and 22, and they're going for it.
Well, yes, at the time it made sense, but the fact that we could not engineer 10 yards on the next drive to make it truly look stupid, it crushed me in the moment. The cigars were sitting in between the two of us, and we were hesitant to even light them before. Like, we were hesitant to light them after Will Brooks got the pick. Waited till it got to zeros to do it. But yes, it was aggressive, and it was actually not a bad idea. Ryan Williams just is not the guy that you want as your lead blocker on a 4th and 22 screen.
Yeah. And shout out to Boo Carter for almost costing us the entire game, but then end up almost basically winning the game for us. So, I mean, my God, that's another thing where it's like times they are changing, I feel like, because like I feel like every other Tennessee era that we've lived through, Boo Carter gets called for a personal foul there, and they get a first down and they go and win.
They used to always be
2000
the second guy gets the flag, or they both get the flag. Like,
Yeah.
I could not believe that they only
Yeah.
gave it to Alabama.
It was clearly he was the instigator, and
Who was the guy in Florida in 2004 Florida
Dallas
that drew the
Baker,
flag? Thank you.
Who?
Thank you, Dallas.
Florida player.
Dallas Baker.
Dallas Baker was a Florida player, and I don't remember who our guy was that he swiped first and Baker retaliated. Had shades of that.
yeah. Well, that's good. So was the anybody have anything else on like the last bit of the game before we go into like I want to know post game, was the cigar smoke really covering the stadium? What did you guys think about rushing the field, tearing down goalpost? What was it like in the stadium?
So before we get there,
Yeah.
for some reason I thought we were up by 7 before we kicked that field goal, and I was like, okay, this is good. Like, just kick the field goal here, go up 10, ball game. And they kicked it, and I was like, I realized my mistake. I was like, oh my god, it's just a touchdown game. I was like, no more overtime. So I felt like such an idiot right there. But shout out Will Brooks, man.
Yeah.
Incredible. He made
Brooks.
2 incredible plays that game, and
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, like if he doesn't trip up Milrow at the beginning of the game,
yes.
yeah.
Every other year, Alabama takes that the length, and we're in hell from the get-go. And then Alabama's last play looked weird. How easy Will was able to step in front of the receiver.
I think that was our defensive line. Like, Milrow just had no time. He panicked. He rushed that throw. Like,
Yeah, they're incredible. They are the reason that we're going to do whatever we're going to do this year.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, what was it like when you triple zeros in the stadium? How was it?
It was incredible. I mean,
that was the most
Thank you,
Matt
Matt.
Dixon thing.
Yeah, that
It
was
was
gonna say,
incredible,
thank you, Matt
Tone.
Dixon.
I don't know what else to say. It felt amazing.
Were you
I was
pro
in a-
rushing the field, or?
I don't care. Like, whatever they want to do. If it was fun for them, then
Yeah,
good deal. I wasn't really interested in it this time around, but
Didn't they tear down the goalpost too?
so yeah, it was the oddest field rushing of all time because like the
Mhm.
game was over and they waited like a minute or two before like the student section actually rushed the field. I think it was when they started playing Dixieland Delight over the speakers is when the students started rushing. And then they were on the field forever, like no one looked interested in taking down the goalposts at all. And then all of a sudden, I guess somebody decided they want to do it and took them down.
I do. For me, I think that like 2022 was just such a phenomenon and viral sensation on TikTok and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. Like all of these kids now, they just wanted their TikTok moment in the sun. By all means, whatever. Like, go for it. That's kind of how I felt. Like, if you're now, it's kind of like, oh, I want to go to Tennessee and I want to rush the field when we beat Alabama. Like, it's becoming part of the thing. So, go for it.
If we want to turn specifically the Alabama game into a field rushing, tearing down event, I'm all for it, but only that one. I mean, maybe if you beat a number 1 and undefeated Georgia or Florida there again at some point, but as it was, I heard that there were reports that it was the recruits that actually started rushing the field first. Is that right? I didn't notice
That's what
that.
I saw too.
Yeah, I heard that like the recruit section started it. I don't know.
But I think you're right, Kyle, in one way that I think that event, getting on the field and doing all that, was for the people that weren't there the last time.
Yeah.
They got to fix their
I'm
student
not in the
lottery
city.
ticket system and get rid of the freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah.
I mean, but I
But
did love that. Did you guys see the video going around after the goalposts were down? Like the security and police department were standing there and would not let them take it, and they're actually like they're firing their taser off just to get up people off the goalpost.
Jesus.
we watched it, and I hurled some invectives at the cops. I wanted those goalposts out. I wanted them to have fun. And I do not. If fun is on the agenda, and I just cannot see how having pieces of goalposts going down, they're going to cut them in. Like they've done it over the years. I don't see why it had to be a problem in that case. I
will say
that they did not.
Sorry, the people that started taking pieces of turf and stuff or grass, screw you. Like, did you see the eBay listings for some guy like grabbed a bunch of grass and started putting it up on eBay to sell? Oh, come on, man.
Funny. Shout out Josh Pate had some Neyland turf or whatever at his place.
Lock him
Screw
up.
you.
Said he just found
Yeah.
it there. Director Colin.
Well, that's cool. I went out after the game was over. I did not pre-buy a cigar, but when we won, I went down and bought one. So there you go.
Just go in the back room, get a Cuban.
Did you smoke it?
Yeah. Oh
Chris,
yeah.
You don't smoke a cigar, you waff it.
Interesting. So yeah, but I was all keyed up and stuff. So yeah, I went down to a local smoke shop here in Astoria, Queens, and walked around and listened to some post game show and just enjoyed the cigar while walking around. It was nice outside. So
I will say the craziest thing about the game was I called Tony, and
Who's Tony?
okay, Tony Basilio, tclub.team. Called Tony, started ringing right away. I was like, what in the world? I can't go first. I hang up. It's like, okay, let me call back. Starts ringing. Like, what is going on? Hang up. Starts ringing. I'm like, I called 4 times and never got a busy signal. I was like, well, shit, I guess I'm going first. But I was like 4th or something. But
yeah, you get on pretty early. I was surprised by it. I
gotta
was
retire
walking
from it. My emotions
I
are
was
too
like,
high.
No.
I was crossing the street and I heard like Matt from Halls. I'm like, oh snap, this is really quick.
And they said, hey, you can't walk here.
Yeah. No, so yeah, anything else like post game stuff? Like, I think we talked all about like I would like to say that I do like where Josh Heupel has kind of taken this to like, yeah, we need to like get better in some areas, but I'm pretty confident in our program now when we're playing at Neyland. Like I really do feel like under his leadership, we've kind of raised the bar enough where Neyland is like a scary and dangerous place for away teams to play, no matter the name or branding of the other team.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. No.
should have always been that way, but
Yeah.
we had a couple of bad hires, so
Couple.
Yeah. And I do feel like that
No.
going into this bye week, the way that game ended and the way we played, where it wasn't perfect, it wasn't great, but it wasn't too bad. We have some people dinged up. This is a lot of good stuff to like build up on, get some people healthy, and then see what happens when we come back.
I am just glad that we host Kentucky instead of travel to Kentucky because I don't want another Arkansas repeat after a bye week.
It does somewhat terrify me that means that we go to Vandy.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they'll have so many fans there.
So we're going to talk about the piped-in noise stuff now.
Yeah, we can. Do you guys
What's there-
actually think that it was piped in?
No,
No. God, no.
it's not. It's been the same shitty speakers they position around the field, and it's just miking up the band, and it's for
And they're pointed at the
toward,
stands.
yeah,
so-
they're pointing at the stands. Like, drown yourselves out. Like, it's so stupid. I will say our sound system in Neyland is awful. Like, the band, please stop miking up the band, please. For the love of Kyle, because I know he hates it, but they just sound so bad. Or get better position mics. Like, it's awful. But yeah, the sound system, it's been that way forever. They don't pipe in crowd noise. The sound system honestly sucks. Like, I hate it.
I will say the thought crossed my mind that maybe we do it because so many of our official whatevers have been saying we don't need to pipe in crowd noise. I'm like, yeah, you can exactly deny it.
That's a good point.
I don't know. I don't believe it. No.
Okay.
Josh Pate and Cole Kubelik say we don't do it, so take that to the bank.
Well, AJ McCarron says we do.
Yeah. And old Wednesdays with Watson Brown said that he's been in Neyland Stadium a bunch with a bunch of teams, and that's 100% authentic crowd noise.
Thank you, Watson.
Put that on a
I
T-shirt.
don't know how much crowd noise did we make for UAB
Right.
and Memphis.
How was
You
that
never know.
UAB game?
Love Watson.
So let's any final thoughts on third Saturday of October? I do want to, before we get out, talk a little bit about bye week and then bye week matchups that are of interest for us to watch out for. So any final thoughts on the Alabama game?
LOL, you suck. Go Vols.
Chris, Caleb?
It's nice for it to be a real rivalry again.
Yes, and it is also nice to see Alabama fans going through it for once. Like, they are really going through it right now.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I also think that Alabama's got one, maybe two more losses coming at them this season. So
What was
that's
the
gonna be
stat?
great.
This is the first time since 2007 they've had 2 losses heading into November.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
Couldn't have happened to
Well,
a better
rain over.
program.
it's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, I was hoping for contrition from them, but I'll take their abject misery for now.
That's good. All right, so let's focus on us really quick going in the bye week before we talk about the matchups. Like, going into the bye week, what are you kind of hoping for? What are you looking for? Like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, with our players, coaches, like, what do you kind of think about us going in as a team going into the bye week? Do we even care?
I really have no idea.
I hate bye weeks. I have the bye week blues.
Yeah.
I like them.
I have PTSD from the last bye week.
Yes,
I
I
don't
will.
know. I just
Yeah.
can't get that invested in other college football. Like, I don't know. I hate when we don't play.
Well,
That's a shame.
I'm hoping that like our wide receivers heal up, where and also like maybe this gives Nico some confidence to kind of get some good reps in. Blah blah blah. He had a decent second half. He can build on that throughout and then he can kind of like come out sharp and like our offense actually gets on the same page now moving forward, and it actually shows in Kentucky.
I mean, that's definitely the hope.
Yeah.
Need rest. They earned it. They're out there way too much. Hopefully they won't be out there as much going forward. Hopefully we'll see a positive trend with the offense. Hopefully we continue to be able to hold up in pass blocking for the most part. Continued work on that. But mostly the bye week, I mean, mathematically we are in contention for the playoffs still.
Yeah.
So this bye week is about wishing and hoping for, and I still can't figure out which ones I want.
Yeah. Caleb,
I
Matt.
don't know which one
Yeah,
more
that's all I
benefit
have to
for
say is
Tennessee.
we just need the right teams to lose now. It's gonna be nice to have a low stress Saturday. In my opinion.
Let me have a Brian Hartman moment, but 5-0 Liberty is about to lose to 0-6 Kennesaw State right now.
Oh, how?
Jesus.
27-17, 126 left in the fourth.
Hey, Matt, what about the Nevada score?
They're not playing. Middle Tennessee's down 35-13 at Jacksonville State.
Nice. Thank you.
It's
So with that being said, like, we'll just start this off. talking about the bye week matchups for the other teams and how it affects us moving forward, I've seen one projection that, projecting us out into the playoff. One has us going to Penn State for our first round playoff game, and another projection has us hosting LSU. So let's talk about what games this Saturday that the Vols aren't playing that you're most excited to watch, and what do you want to happen in those games?
I'm most excited to watch Texas A&M LSU.
Yes.
Don't know honestly which one is what we need. Like, I don't know what we want to happen there. Either way, somebody's taking their second loss, which is good. So I guess we want the team that's more likely to get 3 losses to lose Saturday, whoever that is.
I think
I'm
I agree
so
with that.
sick of all this playoff stuff.
Well, Matt, that's not the segment right now.
Yeah.
Same. Notre Dame Navy
Oh,
at-
yes.
at Navy or at East Rutherford at the Giant Stadium.
Rutherford.
Navy's ranked and 6-0, and Notre Dame has 1 loss. Navy didn't look great last week, but they're still undefeated. If Navy can punch out Notre Dame, I would be obliging and thank them for their service.
Another big game, Missouri, Alabama. I mean,
I was looking
that's
at that.
huge. Yeah.
I think
Missouri,
Al-
Alabama. Just
As
go
much
ahead
as-
because I do not want Alabama to sneak back up and get in front of us somehow. So just go ahead and get Alabama another loss.
I don't know. I think I disagree. I think we need
Yeah.
Bama to be kind of good now. Like, we got to have a good win on our resume, or they're going to leave
Yes.
us out.
I mean, it feels like the SEC just doesn't have that oomph that in years prior it had. Oh, playing the SEC, every team they play is tough. It feels like they're not really getting that respect this year. I think the Big Ten's kind of taken away from it a little bit. But the Big Ten is awful. Like, I know, Kyle, you said we're not on this play, but I am going to be so pissed off when they put in some of these dog shit Big Ten teams that played nobody all season and they lose one damn game to one damn good team in their conference. I am not here for that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. We need Indiana to lose Saturday.
Yeah, Google me, I'll win. Yeah, go play somebody, you clown.
Let's
We
say
need to make them 9-win Indiana.
9 Indiana would be great. We are rooting for VFL Taven Jackson to do
Oh
what
yeah,
he.
he's starting now, isn't he? Isn't their quarterback
Yes.
hurt?
Rourke is hurt. Indiana's legitimate. They haven't played anyone super good. Nebraska's the best they played, and they're still a project. But we need
Yeah, first year
someone-
head coach. Yeah.
like Indiana
destroyed
doesn't have,
Nebraska.
they don't have the rep to survive being a 1-loss team. Not the way Ohio State and Oregon.
I don't know. It's a committee. We've not seen what they've done before with this
true.
format. And who's going to call in a favor, huh? Who's like, this format is going to lead to the super conference eventually. This format is going to piss so many people off in the administrations and the athletic departments that they're going to say no. Here, let's find our 32 teams. Let's set. Here, you're in this division, and it's gonna be over.
It's gonna be like a college version of NFC versus AFC.
Because if you're telling me a 2-loss Tennessee, if we lose to Georgia, a 2-loss Tennessee team gets looked over for a 1-loss Iowa State or somebody, no, I'm not doing it.
One thing I'm interested in to hear you guys talk about is a little bit. Do we want to recap Texas, Georgia any? Because my thing I was about to say was people are actually saying Texas should be concerned about Vandy. So what's your thoughts on Texas concern level versus Vandy?
I hope Texas just destroys Vandy. I don't care.
I would very much think it was funny if Vandy destroys Texas.
I think
Sorry,
be
Caleb's
rather
the one that
hilarious.
has all these hypotheticals out in his head. I don't care. I'm just already pissed at what's going to happen.
No.
Texas, it was really nice. Like it would have been a better tactical victory for Georgia to lose. And however, I kind of enjoyed seeing Texas not like they thought that they were really and truly something. They may well still be. We just don't know yet. Hadn't played anyone but Georgia, but letting those guys get a bigger head than they already naturally have was nice. I just hate that it had to be Georgia to do it.
The pass interference call that led to the objects on the field. What was that? They overturned it?
So I feel like I'm the only one I haven't heard this on the radio much. The refs 100% did the right thing. Like, I back the refs here. I don't care what the.
I mean, it was a bad call, but
I don't care what the rule book says. The point is to get it right, and they got it right.
Okay.
You are not of the opinion that when you render and voice and mark off a penalty, then you can just some event can happen and then it can change all that.
If it makes it the right call, I'm all for it. Like, it was clearly not pass interference. Like,
yeah.
It's going to can't have that kind of back-taking in officiating. I agree with you in some press they got the right call. It was a judgment call.
No, the thing I hate the most is when freaking refs, they call a foul or they throw a flag and they immediately know they screwed up, but they're too stubborn to change the call. Like, I hate that crap. You know the coach is arguing with them and the coach knows he's right and the ref knows the coach is right, but of course he's not going to change it. He's stubborn. Get the call right.
Well,
do you believe in rules or not?
Yeah, enforce the rules.
I can only see how. I mean, that ref in 2021 Ole Miss game, and we're pelting way more than those Texas creeps were capable of doing. That guy had some stone balls to stick with that call. That dude had some cojones. Very impressive, even though he was wrong. Like, I respect that once the call was made. I just can only see how this would hurt Tennessee at some point down the line.
Well,
every school just wants to be like us, rushing the field, throwing stuff on the field.
It is true. We are the trendsetters.
Matt does.
Next, everybody's going to be piping in crowd noise.
Doesn't being cool, don't you like being cool, Matt?
No, get your own shit.
So one other game that I'm kind of interested in just for fun is Oklahoma versus Ole Miss.
I don't care.
No, I mean, I'm just thinking that,
Boomer.
Oklahoma beating Ole Miss would be extremely funny, and then also Oklahoma just getting smashed again and just going just further into the abyss is also funny. So either way, I think it's going to be fun.
I agree with.
Is it game day going there?
No, they're going to Indiana.
Oh my God! Okay, yeah, that's right.
Never been before.
There's a reason.
Oklahoma is really pissing me off. Like, NC State and Oklahoma are just tanking our accomplishments so far, and like we just in no way can we point to that. Like, thank God we got Alabama, and we need Alabama to continue to not sail completely to hell like some of their fans seem to think that they're going to do. But Oklahoma is just it doesn't make sense to my eyes how bad they are.
Yeah.
South Carolina is an annoying team to play, but South Carolina is not 21 points in the first 7 minutes off of your.
All right. We're losing Chris. Chris, you're getting a little robotic and lagging a little bit, which that also means it is time for us to talk about wrapping this thing up because we're going into 90 minutes of this podcast episode. So,
No, we're not.
well, I'm looking at the call time.
Oh, we're at an
Yeah,
hour 4, almost an hour 5.
still plenty of time. So yeah, like, any other thoughts on like our uh, teams that we're kind of watching out for? We talked about LSU, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Missouri, Bama. Any other games we need to talk about?
I mean, I just don't think it matters at this point. It's too early to tell.
Classic Matt answer.
Don't care.
Go Knowles.
Who they play?
Oh.
Clemson?
Miami.
Oh, Miami.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Miami's due. Oh, they're due.
All right. So here is a final little conversation. I want 2-minute drill here. I was heard this today. Is what do you guys think about James Franklin going to Florida?
Oh, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. Doesn't scare me at all. Yeah.
He would have them
I,
9-3 consistently.
But I do think that Lagway is going to keep Sunbelt Billy there a couple years.
Hope so.
All right.
I like. I don't like Jimmy Frank, but he's a great heel.
Maybe Clark Lee can take the Florida job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Signetti guy, he's going to be at Alabama in a handful of years.
Oh, we're talking
Kalen
about offensive genius from a school who's usually not that good is going to take the Alabama job, and you're scared.
Yeah, but Washington has been good in the past, and like had somewhat of a pedigree. Indiana has nothing. I mean, nothing.
I don't know.
So
They
Put them in the Gator Bowl, didn't we?
yeah, they almost beat.
I mean, that
Jeremy
was-
Pruitt, guys. Come on.
that was the best Indiana team in a generation.
Yeah.
More than that. Like the Signetti guy has the appearance of chops at this point. I think they could be legitimate.
He needs to go to Oklahoma.
Yeah, he beat Florida International. He beat, I don't even know who in the hell that is. Western Illinois Leathernecks, UCLA,
FCS
Charlotte,
Southeast.
Maryland, Northwestern, Nebraska. Yeah, I Googled that for you, Kurt. Clown. I don't care about him. If Indiana gets in the playoff over beating just Ohio State, no. Sorry. Wait your
Well, the
turn.
nightmare scenario is they'll lose to Ohio State and get in with one loss. That's going to be stupid.
Yeah, they're going to put Ohio State in regardless.
The nightmare scenario is Tennessee does not get in the playoff at all. I don't
Yes.
care about
That's
anybody.
all I care about. And if one of these bullshit teams gets in from playing nobody,
I'm getting a little
What do I
nervous
do?
about A&M. That's the one thing I'm getting nervous about. It's just A&M being
And LSU.
One of them is going to
LSU.
get in. It's going to be Georgia, Texas. One of them, crap, and us and Bama. So probably somebody's getting left out.
you don't think Georgia and Texas both
No,
get
yeah,
in?
Georgia, Texas.
Okay.
One of LSU, A&M, and then probably one of us and Bama.
Yeah. Do you think it's more beneficial to play and lose the conference championship? I know we've
Alright.
had this discussion in the past.
Yes,
but
yeah,
just
we
real
need
quick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And somebody
I think
was-
the committee will definitely value that.
I was listening to somebody today where they're saying the committee is going, just so they can make the championship game still relevant, they're going to value championship game losses.
Yeah.
So
I
it's like, yeah.
I would
and
rather
so-
go and don't care if we win or lose.
Right. I mean, there's sometimes now where I'm even thinking about scenarios is it might be better to say no, like pass on going to Atlanta. You know,
Not
like
this
let's
year.
say, well, yeah, I'm but saying like there's some scenarios out there where you're like, man, I can go to Atlanta and play in the SEC championship game and just have another game of wear and tear on our players' bodies and then lose, or just not go and get an extra week of rest and still make the playoffs.
The first forfeit of the SEC championship game. I don't know what kind of impact that's going to have. But if you're in the SEC championship game, you are one of the two best teams in our league. So, yes, you want to get to it. That should be a goal.
I don't want to be arguing about whether we're the fourth best team in this in the
Yeah.
SEC. I'd rather just go and lose it.
So you're saying, like, if you go into the SEC championship game as a 2-loss Tennessee team and you lose, get your third loss, you're still in?
Yeah, I think there is no way they're going to leave out the second best team in the SEC.
Yes. Even with a third loss.
Yeah, and your third loss is going to be to Georgia.
Well, if we're 2 lost, I mean, most likely they're going to both be SEC losses. So that means the rest of the conference is lost too. So I don't know. I hate this playoff shit. I hate it. I can't wait. I cannot wait for this playoff to be announced because mark your calendars, folks. There's going to be an epic rant on that one.
Cannot wait.
Yeah, cannot wait either. I can't wait so much that I'm ready to get off this episode just to get to that episode quicker. That's how much I can't wait for it.
Beautiful.
All right, any final thoughts on this episode? Caleb's ready to go to bed. Kyle's ready to go to bed. Chris, you're going to go play Battleships.
I got to finish writing next good old Rocky blog.
Oh, yes. Go read good old Rocky blog. We got 2 posts up there now. Mac a la mode. Did I say that right?
You did, Matt.
Okay, yes.
Bravo.
Yeah. And follow us on
Substack, good old Rocky blog. Link
Yeah,
tree.
follow us on TikTok, Instagram. Chris has an amazing video up on our TikTok right now.
Yes.
It's just going viral. The world just loves it. Can't get enough of it. So.
Yes.
If you have any memory of the 90s and sitcoms, it'll hit with you.
Chris, I love that you used that Nico face in it.
Oh, it was the perfect none of the other
incredible.
ones have the smiles that you're looking for.
That was incredible.
I mean, props to the UT film guys. They made it. They
great
content.
Yeah, shout out friend of the pod, Noah the Boa. So
who?
Noah the Boa on Instagram. He's the video guy for UT.
Oh, is he really a friend?
Now he is.
Okay, well.
Yeah. Friend's just a stranger you don't know. Sorry, I'm not that phrase.
Yeah. All right. Ciao.
Good night.